Morning. Our first scripture reading from today is Psalms chapter 95, verses 1 through 6. O come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come into his presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a joyful noise to him with songs of praise. For the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods. And his hands are the depths of the earth, and the heights of the mountains are his also. The sea is his, for he made it, and for his hands formed the dry land. O come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. And the second passage is from Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. For God is not so unjust as to overlook your work and the love which you showed for his sake in serving the saints, and as you still do. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Commissaris, and I'm a member of Fort Street. And this is just a short message that I put together about my time in Zambia, which has been over 3 years. And it's just a reflection on Thanksgiving. I felt like I needed to introduce myself since I don't know all of you. So in our culture, the weeks and days before Thanksgiving, it's really common to reflect on what we're thankful for. In kids' classrooms, with friends, and people often mention people, amenities, health and safety, joy and love are very frequently mentioned. And oftentimes we find ourselves momentarily touched by someone's response to the question, what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving? The last 3 years in Zambia, a third world developing nation in sub-Saharan Africa, has been interesting in a word. Zambia is a landlocked country in the southern part of Africa that's overflowing in beauty with both the nature and the people. When I first joined Peace Corps 3 years ago, the trainers always made jokes about how Zambians were the most wonderful people in the world, and I thought that they were joking, but they're not, and it's because Zambians are thankful. The people of Zambia show their thanks in ways that I had never imagined. Take the weather. In the States, I feel like the weather is sort of a go-to conversation piece. I use it all the time. I might have mentioned to everyone that I greeted this morning how cold it is here. But Zambians are thankful for the weather. They're thankful for the rainy season because it cools down the painfully dry heat, and then they can grow their maize and peanuts and staple foods that are absolutely necessary to the survival of subsistence farmers. Yet in the midst of rainy season, they're so thankful for a dry day because we could sit outside and eat mangoes and watch the kids play in the dirt. The harvest season brings a lot of work for everyone, and for that they're thankful, because this gives an opportunity for some young adults to find piecework or a side job, and then you have the bounty of the harvest, which looks surprisingly similar to everything that's here. But their response to being thankful is what I want to focus on. Responding to God for the blessings you have received is our part of being thankful. In our verse from Psalms, David calls us to make a joyful noise to him and reminds us that the Lord is in everything and of everything, and it belongs to him, and what we have is the gift. O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving and make a joyful noise to him with psalms. When you say grace before dinner at the table, is it really that joyful? Is it a joyful noise or a celebration or an actual thanks? It's not at our table. Usually everyone turns to Phil and says, Phil, say grace. And he says, grace, and then we eat. Not that it's a bad thing. You do a great job. But do Zambians celebrate with a joyful noise? Oh boy, do they ever. For 3 years, every single meeting or program that I had or that I attended started not only with an opening prayer, but a song or a dance. This was very awkward when I first came to Zambia because I had no idea what they were singing and I wasn't exactly sure if it was about me or not. Common church songs were sung, and there's just this overwhelming beauty of voices in an unrehearsed harmony, complete with dance moves that would make anyone burst out into laughter. They celebrate they're thankful for, and they celebrate what they're thankful for. What do we do to celebrate? Zambia is a poor country, and where I live, the annual average income for a family was about $400. That's just over $1 a day. Not only was it a shocking transition to live amongst people who were so poor by financial standards, but it was more shocking how content they were and how happy they were. Yes, they complained about things, I have to get new shoes, my bike is broken, but it didn't seem very different from here. and I was shocked. Content plus is what I like to call it, because they knew things were going wrong and they knew things were going to happen, but they just seemed to have this attitude of gratitude. Every time I went to a meeting or went to teach a health talk, I came back with more harvest thank you gifts than I could carry on my bike. Villagers would send me with pounds of cassava and mangoes and bananas and groundnuts just for expressing a slight interest in their community and the possibility of working together. In Zambia, the simple presence of a friend or a visitor is worthy of a physical Thanksgiving gift. Needless to say, I didn't eat it all. I tended to re-gift to other people. The most important lesson, though, that I learned in Zambia was that I didn't need to be there to be thankful. Take a minute and think about it. Take a serious breather from the chaos of your life and think about your blessings, and then respond to that. We've all been through hard times, especially with this economy. Personal financial matters, death of family members and friends, prolonged illness, depression, and addiction. No one struggle deserves more sorrow than another. We all have our crosses to bear, and similarly, we have all been given different spiritual gifts to help others in their time of need. Could your thanksgiving for health be supporting someone who's sick? But to make a change, it only takes one moment, one break from what's going on, and just to have a moment of gratitude. My moment hit me the other day when I was running, and my knees started to get sore, and I started to complain in my mind. All of a sudden, I could not help this overwhelming thanksgiving for my health and safety while I was in Zambia. I had some bumps and bruises and some funny stories and some interesting scars, but I was protected. And it took me a moment to really think about what that meant. And I understood why God says we should praise with dancing and singing. The other side of that, though, is there have also been many times since I've been back that I have felt guilty. Guilty of my hot showers, my warm bed, my job, availability to eat whenever I want, but the guilt doesn't do us any good. John Webster said, "How tedious is a guilty conscience," and I'm convinced that he was onto something. The guilt is your mind and your heart telling you that something is wrong, something is unfair or unjust. But maybe what's not wrong is the hot shower. Maybe what's wrong is our lack of appreciation for it. I'm going to say it again. So what's wrong in our heart and our lives is not that we have hot showers or warm beds. It's that we just aren't as appreciative as we should be.